Thank you. Thank you, each and every one of you, for finding the time to come here. Today I'll present what I call bookworks, where I'm using books as a material. I started using text in my paintings about 17, 18 years ago. And originally, it was bits that I took from books that I burnt. But then I wanted to use perhaps another language, which was mine, but I didn't know it, Urdu. So I asked my mother to write letters to me for a few years, and in Urdu, and she did. So a lot of my mixed media works contain extracts from her letters to me. So and then from there on, I kind of moved from text and words to the shape and form of the book itself, and decided to use the book as it was, any book. No, first it wasn't any book. First it was some books that I chose to sort of deal with in a particular way, to treat them in a particular way. But that became very difficult because it made the engagement very complicated to deal with the content of the book in a completely different language, a visual language, became a bit complex for me. So after that, I decided to keep the book itself a secret from my audience. So I know which book I may have kind of sculpted or installed or covered or even burnt, but you will not know that. So for the presentation today, I've made a short AV of these bookworks. And since they cover about 15 years, they get quite, it gets a bit dense for 6 minutes. So if you don't mind, I'll just play it twice. So you'll just see the same AV twice. Shall we, Vijay? Thank you. I don't have to play it again, or should I just play it again? Vijay? Has nothing on it. I mean, it's a book with no words. And I have stopped the burning of the text, which had started in, I think, 2002, when I started burning Urdu text. I have stopped doing that, but the time I burnt the last book, I thought maybe because it's the last book, I was conscious of it. So I'll just burn it all the way and not use it for anything, but just take the book and burn it. So when I did that, I sometimes we tend to document, so I documented it with my iPhone, and that's the next video that I'll show here. It's about 2 minutes. The burning took much longer, about 2.5 hours. I've burnt 6 books. This was the 6th.
We open the floor for questions or comments. I'll bring you the microphone if you agree to ask a question. Yeah.
You have used the Urdu text, handwritten Urdu text. I think that was written by your mother. So, what was the context using those texts instead of using something else? There was any special purpose?
Yes, there were many purposes in the sense that there were many reasons. First of all, she wrote the best. She had the most beautiful handwriting, and she had many stories to tell, which were personal and also kind of universal. So I think that was the first reason. Thank you. I think at that time also engaging with this, not knowing my own mother tongue.
Did you translate Pessoa?
Sorry?
English? Did you translate Pessoa to English?
No.
No.
I just stole the title.
No.
The Book of Disquiet.
The Book of Disquiet.
That's how I titled my series, one of the series that I had exhibited. I had just read the book, and somehow I just stole the title.
It's a work of genius.
Yeah.
Any questions, anybody else? Yeah.
Thank you, Saba. That was beautiful to watch. I would just like to ask about how in, let's say in a certain case, you are embalming the books and giving them a sort of almost a very worshipful stance. And on the other hand, you have this act of violence, which is burning. And is it completely different time periods and therefore your reactions to external situations that caused you to do such different things? Or is the book itself beyond all these different things that you're doing to them? So I'd like you to comment on that.
Yeah, I think this is interesting. I mean, I'm thinking about it for the first time myself. But no, interestingly enough, though the burning started in 2002 and it was kind of, I think came to mind to me as a kind of reaction to, you know, all the, I come from a very literary academic sort of a family, so kind of a reaction to all the ideals that we've been handed down as human beings, you know. The book gives you the way to truth. So burning of that started, burning started with that kind of a reaction that, you know, that the world around somehow didn't seem to be in synchrony with these ideas. And then, of course, you know, I had witnessed the 1984 Sikh riot, they called riots, actually not riots, but pogrom in Delhi. And the favorite method of the killers was to burn a human being. You would just douse them with kerosene and you just used to set fire to people. And then I realized that in the Indian culture, burning is pretty much a method to kill. Like even dowry deaths. I remember when we were in college, we used to protest against dowry deaths, and those again were caused by burning. And then this 2002, the Gujarat riots, the pogrom also happened, and again the same method. Basically throw something burning at a person and set him on fire. So I think it began from there. And no, it has not really, it did not really stop as a technique in work, though the reasons for it changed. And I deliberately showed the video today because I felt that by the time in 2015 I burned the last book, it wasn't really an act of protest or a reaction or pain or hurt or the way it began, but it really was just a sort of a depiction of a cycle of life, you know. So the book begins as a book or a human being, and then the process, it goes through the entire process of burning, and it doesn't just die. There is a transformation, you know. It goes into earth, it turns into ash, and then from there it goes into the soil or the sky or something. So it is not only violence or violence alone. There are many reasons. But somehow this documenting this video helped me see it as something much more, you know, like, and we do that, you know, we kind of send off the dead also by burning, some of us, into another world. So this other world thing and transformation has also been a reason or for my dealing with treating books as a material. Because it's a kind of a legacy, it's knowledge, and then it changes over time, it changes with your inputs, and then it changes form. What a book was meant to be when we wrote it is not necessarily all that it will be in the end.
Have you been able to burn what you wanted to burn?
Have I?
Have you been able to burn what you wanted to burn?
First thing I burned was what I wanted to burn. So there is also here a suggestion of some kind of purging that happens with burning. So burning actually is a very powerful art method, I think. You can convey many things through it.
So I was wondering why 6 books, you mentioned, and also the reasoning behind your choice of music, and why the horns were included, and I think a paper being turned, it seemed like, and I was wondering what those choices were.
The music was, the choice for the music was because normally, Anu, there is copyright. And this has been played by my son. So it's like, I just had the recording already. I've got his, when he plays the piano at home, I just sometimes record it, thinking that, maybe I can use it at some point. And I do, and I don't have to pay him for it. So that's why the piano, it's a kind of a riff, I think, of Bach.
So the horns in the background were just the surrounding noise then, I'm assuming. I didn't know if they were intentional in terms of you including it.
No, I've chosen it from a certain selection very carefully. In fact, originally I had put the sound of my walking on gravel as background. But then this appealed to me. I thought it went with the new meaning the books had started acquiring now. And then a book, and I didn't want to maybe have anything vocal or word related.
And then what was the significance of the number, the sixth book?
The 6 books? Well, I didn't really count. I mean, I used to just burn them to use them in an artwork. It just so happened that after about 4, 5 of them, I decided to stop doing it, and that is why there are only 6, in the sense that the 6th was a complete conscious burning by itself and nothing else. Like the ash wasn't used, the pages weren't used. Otherwise, like in some of the boxes or some of the installations, I have used those books or pages out of them. Entire series, exhibitions have come out with, out of these books. But no particular reason in the number 6, but yes, the 6th was a conscious burning by itself. It was put to no use for an artwork. Except perhaps it revealed this idea of,
We have
life
one more question.
cycle sort of a thing. No.
Time for one more question. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. I've watched and enjoyed the clip, but I'm still confused and not satisfied as to why you burnt the sixth book. I've not got the message of your reason as to why you burnt the sixth book. Could you please elaborate more about the reason as to why you burnt it?
I didn't hear very clearly.
It is
That
okay,
you're
just-
not satisfied, I heard.
Yeah, I'm not satisfied, and I don't know the real reason as to why you burnt the last book.
Oh, why no words in the last book?
Why did you burn? Why did you burn it? Because you burnt it, and it was the last book, but you burnt it. So what reason?
The last book actually is the book with no words. In the last book that I have made or sculpted or shaped is actually not the burnt book. That was 4 years ago. The last book that I have shaped is the big book which I made with resin, and that is not burnt. It's just, but it just has pages in it. It has no words in it. And the reason being, I suppose, is that words don't always convey the real meaning. And so sometimes it's better not to use them at all. And the other reason is that you can fill it with your own words and ideas, like the person who's looking at the book can also write it. Thank you.